Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Loc'd Legacy. Today we will be talking about family, faith, and mental health. As always, my name is Michelle. But specifically today, we're going to be talking about something that everyone has an opinion on, and that is birth order. You've heard people say she's the oldest, so she must be the responsible one, or she's the youngest, so she gets away with everything. So in today's episode, we're going to be getting real on how our place in the birth order affects our lives, affects our decisions, and how it shapes us. So it isn't about putting people in boxes. It's more about understanding where some of our patterns come from. So let's go ahead and grab your coffee, settle in, and let's have an honest conversation. So you guys ready? All
Ready?
right. All right. So, first of all, let's discuss, or let's say, which order you guys come in. So, I'll go first. I am the oldest of four kids.
Okay, I am the oldest of four kids as well.
I'm the second oldest of four kids.
I'm the youngest of four kids.
Okay.
Period.
And so, how do you guys think that your birth order has shaped you and who you are?
That's such a good question. I feel like, because I'm the second oldest, I think in a way, I just think I've had someone to look up to, which is Destiny. Someone that can be like a role model for me and that I can like talk to if I feel like I don't want to talk to my mom about stuff. But also, it's some pressure because I have two younger siblings. So it's kind of made me feel like pressure on making sure I'm a good role model for them. So I guess I see both sides really well, like being the oldest as a lot of pressure, but also seeing how things are different for the actual oldest child and how y'all parent us differently, because Destiny and RJ, I feel like we're able to do things that I wasn't able to do, because when Destiny did it first, like the phone thing. Destiny got a phone at like 12. RJ got a phone at like 12. I was 14 because Destiny messed it up for me. So I just think that it's given me a lot of strength, I think, seeing how.
Okay.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
I
didn't even
did.
think too, like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I thought too, even with the homeschool situation, how I kind of like messed it up for everybody regarding that. But to answer the question, or to just piggyback on what we're talking about, I do feel like being the oldest, because mind you, I'm the oldest child, but I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm the oldest, yeah, just oldest child and oldest grandchild. So I feel like for me, it's just a really like a lot of pressure, and I feel like, which is why I want to do the things that I do. Like I want to, I guess, break generational curses. I think when it comes to break generational curses when it comes to just like starting my own family and how I do things in my household. But yeah, I feel like the oldest has a lot of responsibility because we're having to take care of them, we're having to give advice, we're having to, what else we do as oldest people? What else, mom, help me out? What else do we do as oldest sisters, oldest?
So I'm also the oldest of my siblings. And so I think as the oldest, you take on, of course, the responsibility, but also I think you tend to take on the role as peacemaker as well, wanting the family to, get along and feeling like you're responsible for keeping the peace in the family and bridging the gap sometimes as the oldest. And I think that can be overwhelming sometimes in and of itself, because sometimes people don't want your peacemaking. And so I think being able to balance it and being able to not offer that advice or help when sometimes it's not wanted. And I think as the oldest sibling, sometimes you become a little controlling, I think, because you feel like you have to fix everything. You're the fixer of the family. And so sometimes people don't want you fixing them. And then you have to learn how to back up. So yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
For me, I wouldn't say I would be the peacemaker in my role though. I think the peacemaker in our dynamic, I would say would be RJ.
Really?
Because he's the only boy.
Yeah, and me and Deja, we bumped heads a lot. And I think it's the reason why we would bump heads
Yeah.
is because we both were the oldest. Like, she's the oldest, but I'm also the oldest. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's over RJ and Dawson, right? I'm over her, RJ and Dawson. So she still had a responsibility, especially when I went away to college. She still had a responsibility of being that for them, right? So when I come back around and I'm like, okay, no, this is what it's gonna be, and she like, no, this is not what it's gonna be, and we bump
Interesting.
heads. Yeah, we bump heads. But then the two youngest are like, why are y'all bumping heads? But it's like we bumping heads because we both like, we both have carried that responsibility. So out of our dynamic, I would definitely say RJ and Dawson honestly would be the peacemakers
Yeah.
because they were like, y'all need to chill out, and we'd be like, no.
Going at
Got
it.
you.
Yeah.
Got you. So Dawson, how you haven't said much. So how do you think being the youngest has shaped you? And you guys also input on what you guys think about how Dawson has been in her youngest child role.
I would probably say especially being the youngest of siblings that are so much older than you, because they've
So
experienced like
much.
things that I haven't experienced, like, living in North Carolina, being with like family, and like I missed out on those stuff. So I guess feeling not like, yeah, excluded on not having like those memories.
Yeah. I
Wow.
think
And I feel like
go ahead, Queenie.
and I feel like seeing how my older siblings take care of conflict, it has shaped me to be able to deal with conflict more mature. So that's a positive aspect.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Aw,
I think so too,
Dawson.
Dawson. I think so. So,
I think
guys,
that
how do go ahead, Deja? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know that we, like me and Destiny, joke about how Dawson is really spoiled all the time and how dad and mom let her kind of do whatever she wants. And I'm only gonna say this once, but me and Destiny contribute a lot to that because we spoil Dawson really bad. So part of the reason why Dawson is so spoiled is because of us, because we're so much older than her. So I think that's also, Dawson is like really, not really spoiled, but Dawson's the most spoiled out of the rest of us because her parents are
Define
older and her
spoiled.
siblings. Well, you have a bunch of people able to like do stuff for you, buy you things that you want and need because we all work and we're all older. So it's kind of like, I mean, I kind of had that with Destiny, but we really didn't have that like you have it.
Honestly.
So
Do you think that, speaking to what Dawson just said, do you guys think that your birth order contributed to how you handle conflict?
I still got a lot ways to go, but maybe.
I think so. I don't think I've ever thought about that though.
Me either.
I know, like years ago, I know Deja, I didn't understand why you guys butted heads, but now I get it by you guys explaining that because I know there was a point when Des was like, I'm older, you're going to respect me. And then Deja, you're like, but I have a voice. And so you guys would, butt heads. And so that explains why. That explains why, because in your mind, Deja, you were acting as the older sibling too.
Right.
So
Right.
that would explain why. And then
Right.
Dawson explained that because seeing you guys and how you handle conflict and how you guys did learn to communicate, she was able to see that. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but she's emotionally mature, I think, for her age.
She is.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think that your parents parented you guys differently? I know that you talked about the cell phone, but
Yes.
give us some.
Yes, I do. I think y'all were more strict on me. Destiny, yes, too. But I think, well, yeah, I think y'all were more strict on me and Destiny. Like, me and Destiny weren't able to do the things that RJ and Dawson do. Like, how in high school, RJ would be able to go and, like, do stuff. We couldn't, like, yeah, we couldn't do that. And I don't know if it was because we're girls or what the problem was, but me and Destiny, y'all were more, y'all were just more with us than y'all with RJ and Dawson.
Yeah,
We have more rules.
I
I don't
think
know if it's because it was a different time too. I don't know.
honestly, I think that it was the season we were in because Destiny in high school, you were homeschooled throughout high school. So then there was a limitation on even the activities that you could do. And Deja, the same, you were homeschooled until 11th grade. So, I mean, you guys participated in what was available to participate. Deja, once you got to high school and you went in public school, when you would ask to go places with your friends, you were allowed to go. And so RJ was in public high school. And so Dawson is in public school. So I think that's the difference. Oh, okay,
No,
sorry.
no. That was a safe answer though. I really love that. like that because I did have cousins and stuff like that. Granted, I'm not gonna say any names, but I had cousins that were, going places and things like that. And would ask if I could go, and I would
Hmm.
ask. It was a safe answer because I would have a cousin that would ask for me to go places I wouldn't be able to go. So that's all I was gonna say.
I
Now,
now I think I was guilty of holding on too tight with you. I was, but we had our reasons. For me, we had our reasons that we were more, strict. And then also it was where we were spiritually, I think. Remember, we had just rededicated our lives and it's where we were
yeah,
spiritually.
right,
And I think that's where it was too. So we were actually growing in that area and doing,
spiritually,
and sometimes
yeah,
parents are just, it's not an excuse because it's still, just because parents are doing the best they know how doesn't
they can.
excuse your experience and what it did to you. But it's the truth though. We were doing the best we know how.
Also want to touch on too, like, yes, I know parents do the best that they can, but like growing up in a strict household or a sheltered, I want to say household, I
Hmm.
think that's why people, when they do get away or they do go away to
Hmm.
college or, they move out, whatever the case is, I don't want to say they act wild, but you can just kind of tell who grew up in a strict home and who didn't.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, I wouldn't say I was like just super, super, super wild, but I would just kind of say I wanted to have fun. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Like, nobody was
Hmm.
going to tell me I couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And
It was the same
so,
for me, girl.
even for me in college, I had a boyfriend and I was just in them streets and I just wanted to party and all that type of stuff. Like, I wouldn't say I didn't know the rules of different things like drinks and like holding, like having your drink, like can't walk away from your drink, that type of stuff. But I think when you do let your kids experience stuff like that, it prepares them. It makes them more aware. It also
Hmm.
makes them more mature in those type of situations, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
agree.
I understand what you guys are saying. I honestly don't think I would have. I don't know if I would have done anything different because I say this: whether you grow up in a sheltered or strict household or not, once you leave that household, you are responsible for the decisions that you make. And so, I didn't grow up in a
Yeah,
strict household like you guys. My
that's
mom
good.
my mom did let me make more decisions than you guys, and I still went away to college and did some buck wild things. So I don't know that. I think it depends on the person. And regardless of the type of household you grow up in, when you leave that household, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna try
Yeah.
different things. You're gonna, you when you go to college, you have the freedom regardless of the type of household you grew up in that you never had before. And so you are going to try things. I have never been that parent to say, well, let me school you on these things. So let you try these things here so that when you go away, I'm never gonna be that.
Yeah,
But
because you also want to open up a door for us to think that that's okay.
that, and I have to be held accountable to God. I have to be held accountable. So that's another reason I'm not. I've never been that type of parent. So, and I'm not judging anybody who does. Every parent has a reason that they parent the way they parent.
Yeah,
And so for me,
true. You just gotta
I
kind of,
just,
yeah.
yeah. And so I think even with the birth order situation, just you were the oldest to go off and you did things a certain way. But even though you guys may have made decisions that you made, the word of God will not return void, meaning that you guys still remembered who you were in Christ. And so, yeah.
And I think that is really important. When that's another important thing too when you're parenting and growing up, having that foundation, that biblical foundation,
Mm-hmm.
because we, as much as us people who grew up in the church want to steer away from that, we always come back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We always
Mm-hmm.
come back. It don't matter what it is. It could be anything. Like, I know for me, what made me want to come back was like my dating relationships, and I'm just like, okay, I can't no more. And then I had to change my life around. I had to like surrender to God when it comes to just dating and work and relationships in general. So
Hmm.
that's
And when
one
you
thing I can.
Yeah, when you think about like biblical birth order and what you guys are talking about, when Esau, the story of Esau selling his birthright, he was the oldest and he sold his birthright to his brother because he was hungry basically. And so which caused, anger, loneliness, and
Yeah.
so from a mental health perspective, your emotional state does affect your judgment. And
Yeah.
so he had these expectations of him, like he's the oldest, he has these expectations, these privileges, this position. And so when you have something that made you feel better in the moment, what decision did you make? So when you go off to college and you have these decisions that you have to make in the moment, like you said earlier, you do have a younger sibling looking at you. And
Right.
so even though you went away to school and you did certain things, I still think you had in mind, okay, I have my younger siblings looking at me. I have my younger cousins looking at me. I have to be,
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
role model for them.
And yeah, I want to touch back on the emotion part. I have a question for y'all. So, like, growing up, I guess mom too, and all of us can kind of speak at this, but were y'all allowed to have emotions and be emotionally, I want to say, open, or were like y'all told to like get over it?
So that would speak to birth order and generational aspect of it. Because in my generation, Generation X, we were to be seen and not heard. And yeah, we were told to get over it. There were, feelings and emotions and mental health were not talked about.
Yeah.
And so, and then by me being the oldest, and I did this to you a lot, Destiny, too. You're the oldest, you should know better. You're the oldest, so you're almost like you're not allowed to have those feelings. You're the oldest, get over it. You're the oldest. And so, to answer your question, I know because of my generation and my birth order, I was
Yeah.
not, and it's not just me. It's Generation
Yeah.
X. Period. We were just not
Suck
the
it up.
generation. Yeah, suck it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
That's probably why y'all don't take mental health days and stuff like that. Y'all are
Hmm.
just y'all soak everything and everything is in like.
Yeah.
And what about you, Deja? What do you feel?
I feel like I was allowed to have emotions growing up. I was always not pressured, but encouraged to talk about how I feel about things.
Pressure. Pressure. Yeah, I did. I
That's
pressured.
really funny.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of pressured to talk about things like when I was upset growing up that I really didn't want to talk about or that I didn't feel ready to talk about. And it would make me shut down a lot. And then I would kind of get in trouble for shutting down. Like they would get frustrated because they
Mhm.
want to know what the problem was. And I'm kind of just like, I don't want to talk about it or I just don't want to discuss it right now or maybe I need time to kind of discuss it. But as I've gotten older, I feel like y'all understand a little bit more that sometimes I need time to process how I feel about things and time to like be ready to talk about stuff. Like the other day, I was kind of upset about something and mom came in my room and she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing." And she was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Well, I don't want to talk about it right now." She said, "Okay, well, then we'll talk about it later." She did. She did. So I just feel like, I don't know, how did that impact me?
We can't win because on one hand you're the middle child, so we don't, the middle child is the forgotten, and then on the other hand we pressured you to talk about your feelings. I feel like we cannot, me and Dad, we can't win. Like we wanted you
Y'all
to be able.
can. Y'all can
Y'all hear
win.
that, audience?
Yeah.
Y'all can win. I just
I
feel
sure
like
heard that.
sometimes you just have to let someone process how they feel because you can't make someone talk about something when they really don't know what to say or how to articulate what they feel. Because
That's
then
true.
it just gets frustrating. So now I'm frustrated because y'all want me to talk, but I don't really know how to
What I'm
articulate how
feeling.
I'm feeling or what like. So
You don't even have the words to put to
yeah.
what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that's
definitely
understandable.
agree.
I think sometimes even as parents, you know how you grow up a certain way, so you want to be better for your kids. And so I talked about how Generation X didn't really have a voice and weren't their feelings weren't considered. And so I think
Mhm.
that's why I wanted to like, no, you have a voice. You're gonna
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
me what's wrong,
Right.
like what's going on.
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah.
know that you have a voice and that you can talk about that. And I'm here to listen. So I think
Yeah.
that's why. And sometimes you can, go too far as parents. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know it came
What
from a
about you?
place of love.
Yeah,
For sure.
Dawson.
Yeah.
Repeat the
What
question
are
for
you?
Dawson.
So, like, do you feel like you can share your emotions? You allowed to have your like, you're allowed to share your emotions. So, if you're sad about something, you tell mom, and mom is like, understanding, or does she be like, "Okay, girl, stop crying"? Like, how do you feel?
I feel like I'm a very, very big crier. So I feel like Yeah, cause even if like for like the small stuff, I go to mom and I'm just like crying and she helps me, you know? So
You got the
I
licensed clinical social worker, Michelle.
I had the therapist Michelle, so I feel
You got
like
the
she was
therapist.
more I don't want to say nurturing, but like more understanding of how my feelings were. And so she went about it a certain way about how I was feeling in the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's true for a lot of like when you talk about birth order. I mean, there are pros and cons. So the pros
Yeah.
are, the older kids may get more attention in some ways because you're all in, and then
Hmm.
Dawson can say, okay, she don't even really cook as much anymore.
Yeah.
But then on one hand, y'all are saying she's more strict. She handled things in a way that I didn't like. And then Dawson is saying, well, but yeah, she's more, nurturing. She listens. So I think there are pros and cons to both birth orders being, from
Hmm.
a parenting standpoint, probably.
Probably, yeah.
So do you guys feel like your birth order has have you stuck in a position in your family that you no longer want to be in? Like for me, as the peacemaker, the responsible one, I had to realize that it's not on me to be the peacemaker. And then I had to give myself permission to step away from that role. It wasn't comfortable at first, but then I had to
Yeah.
give myself permission to, like, you are not responsible for the peace
Right.
of the family, and I had to step away from that role. So do you guys feel like you have been placed in a position in the family that you don't want to be in because of your birth?
Were you about to talk, Queenie?
Go ahead, Queen.
Okay, thank you, Queenie. I feel like before, yes, because I'm the second, I feel like people in our family kind of compare, well, in my mind, people compared me a lot to Destiny. So I feel like I had to, this sounds really bad. I don't feel like this anymore, but at a point in time, I did, like, I had to, like, compete with her just so I could feel like we're not at the same level, but so I could feel like people love me as much as they love her. It was weird because Destiny, like, when we would go places, it would always be, Destiny, your hair is so long, your hair is so thick, look at that butt. And then people with me would be like, look at that little mean one over there. You know, so it was kind of
Mm,
just like, I was a little
Yeah.
ugly duckling, and then Destiny was like, so
Mm.
that was really hard. And that's why I'm really glad we moved to Texas and like got away from that. Because once I got around just like my core, like you, dad, Destiny, like just around y'all, that definitely I feel like helped my confidence and kind of helped me get from out of that headspace
mhm.
because I didn't have to like hear those types of comparisons all the time. And I feel like that was the reason that me and Destiny got into fights a lot of the time because in my mind it was kind of like oh, she thinks she's better than me, that's why we're like having this argument, or oh, I have these things in the back of my mind that I'm like still dealing with that I've never really said out loud. That's kind of the cause of our fights. But once I like opened up to my mom and to Destiny about it, things kind of got a lot better. So I feel like I was able to like remove myself from that second girl comparison to Destiny. I have to like compete with Destiny to where more it's more like I look up to her. She has qualities that I don't have. I have qualities that she doesn't have,
Same, yes.
so we're different, but our parents love us equally. We're like
Yeah. That
we're
was
both
really
the
good.
bomb.com. So
Yes. I
yeah.
appreciate your transparency, Deja,
Yeah.
and
That
openness to share
vulnerability.
that. That
Yeah.
yeah, that was awesome. Like I almost wanted to cry
Me
because
too.
I know that took a lot, and I really do value that, like openness and stuff. And I really do hate that you felt like that.
Me
And
too.
there's look, I'm gonna say the same thing. I felt like I had to compete with you too. Like especially when it comes to like you're very good with words and very good with talking to people and like you're quick on your feet to think and like I feel like you're a great leader and I would compare myself to that because I'm a bit more different in those aspects. But and I'm always hard on myself because I'm like, I am the oldest, and it is a lot of pressure. I'm like, I don't want to feel like I can't overtalk her or whatever the case may be. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mhm.
it was hard. But I do appreciate you just opening up, and I think you're beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. You're smart,
Aw,
intelligent, and I'm just so proud of you.
aw. I'm so
Just
proud of you, Queenie.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah, I really
Da-
truly am.
Dawson, where do you fit in there? What would you say? How do you feel like you fit in there with some of what the girls were saying?
I know, like when we did go back to North Carolina, I felt like not like invisible, but invisible because I have my two older siblings, and everybody would be, "Oh my gosh, Destiny, Deja, hi
Mm-hmm.
Dawson, yeah." But I like get it because I don't want to really say like they really don't know me, but they haven't really spent a lot of time with me.
Yeah.
So all they know is what like is put up on Facebook. You feel me?
I feel
Me
you.
Yeah, I
Girl.
feel you. I feel you.
Girl,
I
and if
have
they
never
knew
heard you
you,
say that.
right? You feel me? Like Dawson, if they knew you, you are a great person inside and out. You're funny, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're smart. You're on the color guard team. Like you're
Yes.
social, you're popular. Everybody know Dawson. Everybody want to be around Dawson. You
Mm-hmm.
keep all of us laughing in the family. Like if they only knew you, they missing out on a good time. But
Well, it's
I'm
Yeah.
not
sorry.
their fault they're missing out on a good time. I mean,
It's
you
It's
y'all's fault.
y'all's fault.
Yeah.
just know that the family from North Carolina, they love y'all, and the relationship with each one of y'all is different, because Destiny
Yeah.
is the oldest, and then Dawson, we did move when you were two, so they don't know you the way they know the girl. So they love all of you guys. It's just that the relationships are different because
Different.
of birth order, again, because of birth
Yeah.
order.
Because I
And
was the
yeah,
oldest and I was around like
yeah.
more and
Longer. Mm-hmm.
kinda, yeah, longer, and they helped kind of raise me in a way. I was over
Mhm.
grandma's house all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
But yeah, I get what you guys are saying. And Deja, I do applaud your transparency. Destiny, I applaud your transparency. And Dawson, I applaud your transparency. So, what do you guys want people, or what do you want people to know about who you are and the difference between who you are and your birth order? Or better yet, scratch that. How do you think your faith, your birth order, has correlated or impacted your faith walk?
How has our birth order impacted our faith?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
How do you think your birth order influenced your faith?
Okay, so seeing what God has done for like my siblings and my parents, it has impacted my faith by knowing that he's gonna put me in the right path, and even if I do go off track, he's gonna help me to go back on path, and I will always find my way back to him. Because like they were saying, how in college they're doing all these things,
That you
different
will not
things.
do. That you will not do. Keep going.
So yeah, I feel like even though they were in a place where I don't want to be like lukewarm, but so I know if I go on track, or even if like I do things, he'll still protect me, and he'll still keep me safe. And yeah,
He
that's
will.
good, Dawson.
That's a good point, Dawson.
How about you, girls? And Deja, I want you to speak more to being the middle child. I know this whole conversation you've been talking more about the second oldest, being the second oldest, but in fact, you are the middle child. So and then the comparisons. How do you think your faith helped in that, like the comparisons, being the middle child, sometimes feeling like you weren't heard?
I think, okay, so I don't know if me being the middle influenced my faith or not, but I do know that my relationship with God has helped with the things that I felt as being the middle. I don't know if that makes sense. So
It does.
my identity is not, oh, I'm the middle, or oh, I have to compete with my older sister. My identity is in the Lord. So the Lord sees me as beautiful. He sees me as fearfully and wonderfully made. So that helped me a lot with my confidence and my self-worth. So when I did start really taking my faith more seriously, I would say that is when I started feeling a lot better about myself, and me like being the middle and like feeling the way I felt didn't really impact me nearly as much. So that's why I feel like I'm able to really talk about it, because it's not something that stings as much, because that's not like who I am, if that makes sense. And that's
It
something
does.
that I really, really needed. And that when I really started like spending time and like praying a lot more, that was something I feel like he really revealed to me, because he knew how much I needed that from him. Yeah.
That's
That's good.
good. How about you, Destiny?
Can you repeat the question, please?
So how did your faith help with any issues or problems that you had regarding your birth order? So as being the oldest, having to be the responsible, having to be the peacemaker, how did your faith help you navigate that, your walk?
I feel okay. I feel like for me, cause being the oldest, I feel like I had to like I was like held at a higher standard, and I would always want to please like my parents and please y'all and make sure I'm doing everything right. And with God, it's you don't have to do that. Like you can just He accepts you as you are, and I don't have to try to. And even when it comes to like praying and like, oh, if I do something really bad, I feel like really guilty. And I know like that's conviction. But at the end of the day, God gives us freedom. Like we're free from our sins.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I was going to Him and I was feeling like that, or sometimes I would feel like I couldn't pray or I would feel ashamed, or, and those are things that you would feel like from parents almost, but with God it's like He accepts you. He accepts you for who you are. He forgives you before you even ask, you know. So it just allowed me to understand the grace of God and who God is. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what I needed, because sometimes we think that God is like our parents. We think
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, we have to measure up, we have to do certain things to get His approval. But at the end of the day, God loves us for who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have to have that.
Yeah.
So,
I think as the oldest, you're right. Your what you do in your work sometimes is your identity. And so your people pleasing, because sometimes as the oldest you become more of a people pleaser, and that's tied to your identity. And so breaking free from that, knowing that you are enough, like your identity should come from Him and not what you do for people or what you do. And so I can definitely that resonates with me as well as being the oldest.
yeah, right.
Some of what are some of the benefits? Like for me, a benefit, and we'll wrap up here, but the benefit for me from being the oldest is as being someone who is controlling and someone who is the peacemaker. For me, it helps me in my leadership, even as a manager. It helps
Mm,
me with navigating that and the nuances of that. And so there are some God uses, let's not, negate the fact that God will use our birth order in how in our gifting. And so for me, being the oldest, that has really helped me in regards of leadership in my role, or leadership, or even leadership in my family with you guys.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point too. I like that. Yeah, that's a good point.
So anybody have any last minute things they want to say before we wrap up? Yeah, because as the middle, you feel like you're overlooked. So then it's almost like I'm here too, and then you learn how to get that attention by having that comedic relief. Is that what you're saying, Deja? There's a reason for everything, though. There's a reason. There's a reason. All right, Dawson, do you have anything to add about being the youngest? Anything you want to say?
Y'all already know what I'm gonna say. I feel like as the youngest, I wouldn't say like I'm spoiled, but like I ask my sisters or I ask my mom. If she says no, I ask my sister. Yes.
I did not know you do that. I did not know you do that. Okay.
Can we
Now
cut
I
that
know.
part out?
No, now I know. Now I know. All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending the time with us at the Loc'd Legacy. We have enjoyed this conversation. We have enjoyed spending this time with you. And we look forward to seeing you in our next episode 3. See you next
Thank
time.
y'all for joining in.
Bye.